My name is April Dixon, first off, and my story is one that I'm gonna put as complicated, but I'm gonna try and simplify it as much as I can. Um, Basically, I was diagnosed with soft tissue cancer at the age of 25, but I knew that something was wrong with me way before then. But the doctors that I were going to see at that time, like the different specialists that dealt with orthopedics, couldn't figure it out. Not even my general doctor could figure it out. My mom is actually the one who said something to me like, even though you did all the physical therapy, you did acupuncture and all those different things, it wasn't helping. So something else is going on here. And she said I needed to find a new doctor. Cancer was far from my mind at this point. A lot of people are like, why did you wait so long? Why didn't you, not go to like a hospital or something like that if you were in so much pain? But honestly, I'd never been sick before, and I didn't think like cancer was what was wrong with me. I literally did think I had a sports injury. And so when he sent me for the MRI, I remember afterwards, after getting off the machine and leaving, the lady had said to me, she was like, "Good luck." And, the way she said it, though, she patted me. The way she said it just made me think like something was wrong, but I still didn't think cancer. When I saw the pictures, I knew it was a huge tumor that was encompassing my hip and my buttock area. And so he was able to give me information for a sarcoma, which is the name of the soft tissue cancer that I have. And from there, I saw the doctor and did a biopsy, and it came back positive for the soft tissue cancer, which is synovial sarcoma. And what happens is it occurs only in 1% of the population, and it affects children, teenagers, and young adults, but mainly teenagers and young adults get it. And I happen to be in the young adult population. And it's where the tissues basically mutate, or the cells mutate in the tissue, and it causes tumors, and it likes to travel to like the liver and the lungs. And so, of course, all of those organs were checked as well after they found out that I was positive for it. And from there, it was a roller coaster. They wanted to do amputation from the waist down to get rid of the tumor because it was easier that way, and there wouldn't be as much blood loss because I don't accept blood, and so that was another issue. So I would always hear, "Boy, you're complicated," and it just happened to be the truth. I was. The tumor was in an area where people are like, "How does a tumor get in that area? How, who asked for a tumor to get into an area where it's very tricky?" I mean, we have so many veins and nerves and blood vessels there, and that's where mine decided to be. And so that's why chemo was so important, because they needed to shrink it. And if it wasn't shrinking, then what do we do? And so at that point, because of everything that was being presented to me, I thought too that maybe having an amputation was the best solution. From there, I ended up in New York, and at Memorial Sloan Kettering. And I got to put it out there because I'm here to tell the story. So they're the ones that saw me through to the end. I finished up chemo there, so I actually did more than 15 rounds, but I did it outpatient there, which meant that I was able to go home after being infused. And then also from there, I did radiation, and from radiation, I did surgery. I did the surgery, and after the surgery, well, I didn't know what was going on, of course, during the surgery, but afterwards is when I'm being told that they couldn't save my sciatic nerve. So in the process of not only losing my muscle and the tissue that the cancer had intertwined itself in, I ended up losing the sciatic nerve, which is a huge nerve in our body that innervates our leg for us to be able to move it in any direction, but especially our foot. So being able to press on a gas pedal in your car, those kind of things are the things that I can no longer do because that was taken from me.
Okay, it's fine. It's fine. But you're here. You're still here. You you've shown a lot of great spirit. And I can understand how it could be definitely a lot to deal with. But your spirit seems to be very good. What has you've told me everything that they've done. Something in your psyche, something within you has what I get from your spirit is something within you has allowed you to maintain yourself as who you are through it. What has allowed you to maintain you? We know they were doing everything for it, but what has helped you maintain being you?
Well, I guess the one thing that I can say has helped to keep me is I remember the first oncologist I went to see, the same oncologist who did my biopsy. The one thing he did tell me that I didn't forget was it's 99% mental. If you can keep a positive attitude throughout everything, then you'll be okay. In my disability itself, the outward disability where I have to kind of work on my balance and all of those kind of things. That's where a service dog would definitely help me out. Being able to help my gait because the way I walk is off, so I have to use a cane. And right now I wear a brace to help me to be able to move the foot, up and down or propel the foot. But having a service dog would definitely help in that way. Being a companion, but also being able to help me walk around so I can feel like I'm young again and not have to use a cane because, I'm not used to that. But I've kind of adapted as time has gone on. But I'd love to have a dog to be able to help me with that, issue.
You hear about coming to connection with the Top Dog and the V-Dog program.
Oh wow. I guess it's a long and short story. But one day I was walking, literally like maybe a week ago. I was walking and or strolling, however you want to put it, and I was in the park and I was with my mom and my dad at the time. And I needed fresh air. It's like I have days where it's just like, I need fresh air. I don't want to be in the house, And so I was walking and I was passing by like this area in the park and I look over and I see a giant schnauzer. And I love animals. And so I looked over and I was like, oh my goodness, a giant schnauzer. I need to go over there and find out where she got this giant schnauzer from. And, but I'm outgoing, but I'm not outgoing. And so I was like, I'm not going to call her from all the way from where I was to where I saw she was. So I was just like, I'll just keep walking and go back to the car. And when I got back to the car, she, how do I put it, Top Dog's associate was walking one of the giant schnauzers. And I had to stop her. And I was like, hey, where did you get your giant schnauzer from? And as she started talking, I realized that she was with a group, a company that I had followed years ago called Giant Schnauzers of America. And come to find out it was the same organization. And when she told me that, I was just like, oh, I was telling her part of my story. And I was like, I need a service dog.
Well, I'm Audrey Dixon, and yes, I'm Apryl's mom. Sometimes it's hard putting it into words, and I think, honestly, there have been times when, as a mother, I realized that when you're going through a situation where you see the baby, I brought a healthy child into the world, and I watched her grow, and there was nothing that you had your frightening moments, but nothing like when those words came, she has cancer. Somehow, I gave it everything I had, because I'm like, you're not going anywhere on my watch. So it was calling to mind things that I could think of that even as a baby, as a little girl, things she loved to do. Those were some of the modalities I had to call upon to help her to be strong. If she was looking like she was going to have a sad day, I'm like, not on my watch. What do you want to do? Let's play some music. Let's color. I actually went and got a coloring book and said, let's color. And it would take her out of the mood. So there was one moment in particular, well, actually, there were many. There were many times when I thought we were going to lose her because I could look at her and I knew something was wrong. One point in particular that it's hard for me to talk about it because I don't want to have to break down at this point. But, you know, being in a hospital environment, I realize you have to be your own advocate. If you have a loved one in the hospital or going through any illness, don't leave them for a second if you don't have to. And I mean that literally, because it's time in those times that you turn your back, that something could happen and could be the last time you see your loved ones. And one time in particular, she came through chemo, she came through radiation, she got through surgery, and she was in rehab. And that's where, through negligence, we almost lost her. And she became, the term is, her blood pressure, her heart rate was so strong or so high that it was like septic shock. And we had to get in the ambulance and get to the emergency room, and we're in an area that I don't know where I'm going, I don't know this hospital, I have no friends, there's nobody around. And she looks at me and she's like, Mom, I'm not gonna make it.